Welcome to Joy of the Hang. I'm your host, Sharon Stevenson. Today, we're talking burnout, resilience, and what it really takes to feel well again. My guest is Linda Mullins, executive coach and founder of Luxury Executive Wellness, a well-being solutions company creating personalized retreats, executive offsites, and board experiences that address burnout at the root. After hitting her own wall in 2007, Linda reimagined recovery, assembling concierge teams in neuroscience, peak performance mental health, naturopathic medicine, mindfulness, and fitness across the US, Mexico, and Europe. Her retreats meet you where you are and help you leave with renewed purpose and joy. Linda, welcome to the Hang.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here. You have the best hair ever, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. I owe it to my hairdresser.
Our listeners can't see you, but our viewers can, and she has the most gorgeous auburn hair. So take us back to 2007. What did burnout look and feel like in your body, and what shifted at that first immersive retreat for you?
Boy, that's a good question and a loaded one, right? I was very fortunate to be working in a terrific position in marine financial services. I was going to say automotive because that was most of my career. But over the previous 6 years before 2007, I had gained 100 pounds. How do you do that over 5 or 6 years? Well, very carefully, right? And so I was in this excellent position, not difficult by most means, great role, but I was unhappy. And unhappy because if you're not happy with yourself, then, it transcends everything else. So I decided to quit my role, quit my position. I didn't want to take a leave, and I went to 6 weeks of boot camp in LA. So I worked out 6 hours a day and paid, a somewhat hefty fee to be there for 6 weeks. And it was the kickstart to transform my life and change the trajectory of what I'd been on. And so from that experience, I created my first company, and I opened up a live-in wellness retreat company in St. Petersburg, Florida, and hired some psychologists and some naturopaths and nutritionists. And those were the missing components from my experience. So I knew I could do it better if we got the mind involved, right? So that's burnt out looked like for me was overwhelm, exhaustion, unhappiness, and there was some disconnectedness too. So I wanted to get me back because I'm a very gregarious, happy person and wasn't really living that life.
I think that resonates with a lot of our listeners. I think burnout is, we were talking about this a little bit before the show. I think that that's a real problem, not only in this country, but worldwide right now.
Oh, yes.
It's a lot of stress.
Mm-hmm.
And what made you decide that a boot camp was the right answer?
Well, I'd looked at so many people going through that bariatric surgery. I was in South Florida.
Okay.
One of there's a hub everywhere, right? Of let's get surgery to fix everything. And so I went to a consult actually, and they told me the kinds of things I was going to need to do in order to maintain that bariatric thing. And I'm like, this is not me at all. Let me go get my own butt kicked. So I went, and I was always athletic and, swam and ran in high school and college. And so I went, and that was my kind of answer, was to literally sweat it all out. And because I knew it would, increase endorphins and make me happier and make me more like I used to be. And so I did that, met some wonderful people. And from that experience, I knew. So that immersive experience is key to the rest of my story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you thought at that time that if I got the weight off, I'd feel better?
Yeah.
Okay. And then when did you realize that the mind had to get healed as well?
During the boot camp.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's why I created our own.
Okay.
Right? It was a great model. Thank you for that experience, technique at the time. And there wasn't anything else like it. Biggest Loser wasn't even out then.
Okay.
Right. It was just on the cusp of coming out. So knowing my father was an alcoholic and my mom had mental health issues. So my dad raised us. There's so many layers of things in our family. But I knew that was the missing component. It's so much more than exercise, and the 1,200 calories a day, because that's what it was. I'm working out 6 hours a day. I was on a big calorie deficit, as you can imagine, at 1,200 calories a day. And so the weight was sure going to come off, but we have to retrain the brain. I had to retrain the brain. I'd had some therapy in my past, and I was, a doer and an overcomer, but I hadn't really conquered all the things. And who has? I still haven't.
Did they have mental health support at that camp?
Nope.
No. So that's when you realized, okay, got the weight off.
Yes.
There's still something missing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. As I was getting the weight off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hired my first psychologist when I opened up the spring of '08, right after the market took the crash. And so I was very fortunate that we opened up, and because we were a healthcare kind of company instead of a luxury offering, we did very well.
I love that awareness though, because it's so true. I say that all the time. We were just talking that I got my health and wellness certification last year, and it's so much more than just what you're putting in your body. And certainly you need to move, and certainly you need to eat well. Those two things are definitely
Key.
right. They're definitely key. But you're right. One of the missing components is we also need to deal with the trauma or whatever it is that's causing the behavior.
Yes. Root cause.
So the root cause.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So speaking of root causes, you say you help clients address root causes. What patterns show up most in high performers?
My gosh, it's amazing how many high performers have levels of trauma that they've never dealt with. It was true when I owned Core in St. Petersburg, the fitness camp. They'd never the average age of our client, we served everybody, but the average age of the client, let's just say, was 50 of the 30-year-olds to the 70-year-olds. 77 to 80% of them had never gone through counseling at all, never dealt with any issues or any traumas. And that's a big thing. So that's a big commonality. Same with the executives or just people in general that we're serving now at Luxury Executive Wellness. There are things they haven't dealt with at the core. And some of them are identity issues. Many people are believing the lies and the belief systems that were impressed upon them because of their environment. Right. So they don't have a voice because they were always shut down by a parent or sibling or whatever. Everybody doesn't have to have gone through some type of abuse or dysfunctional home to have experienced trauma. But there is so much that is physical trauma, sexual trauma, abandonment, rejection. We were in foster care when I was little. My dad was still in Vietnam. My mom lost custody of us. So there's all kinds of traumas. If you can name 7 traumas right around that, right? Abandonment, rejection. My mom left me. She didn't leave me. We were in foster care. We're in new places. We're little kids, whatever. I would say the commonality is many people have stuffed or gritted, as we were just talking about, kind of gritted our way through life and excelled, because we had a particular fuel,
right,
and a determination and a drive that fuel oftentimes belonged to some type of trauma that really hadn't been dealt with, but we're going to deal with it this way. I used to be a workaholic, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to succeed no matter what. Dang it.
Yeah. And I love how you pivoted it when we talked earlier, because it was negative fuel that fueled us. It was negativity. It was,
That's right.
We're going to make it no matter what. We're going to prove you wrong.
Yes.
It wasn't because we believed in ourselves
No.
necessarily. The fire was, I'm going to show you.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to show you that I can do it.
Yeah.
But you said we need to reframe our brain and have more positive messaging. So how do we do that?
Well, so first, we do. We retrain the brain, right? And reframe more of a healed trauma, right? So there are methodologies that our psychologists use, and I say there are a lot of methodologies out there, neuroscience backed, trauma informed. And so whether you're looking at EMDR or brain spotting or ART, which is also an rapid eye movement therapy, energy medicine, some of it may sound woo-woo or foreign to a lot of people. And I used to think that way as well. But we need to target and get to the memories, the triggers that are causing not only that feelings, but the feelings that lead to the behavior, right?
Right.
I've dealt with them myself, right? I was self-medicating. I quit drinking the other year for a year or so, kind of to prove I could do it, right? I'm not an alcoholic. Certainly my dad was, but I'm not. And I just wanted to make sure. But when I go through certain things, there was a loneliness there. But you know what? Dopamine and serotonin come in handy, and we can take the pure thing instead of taking a hit or relying on social media and the approval, or whether it's shopping or or sex or obsession with our bodies or whatever, the thing that is medicating us, alcohol, food, the thing that's medicating us and separating us and tamping down those real feelings, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's so widespread because, to your point, there's so many different types of trauma that we all experience. It's rare to meet somebody who's had a perfect upbringing,
That's
right?
right. That's right. And now they're more outspoken about it, right? The
Yeah,
newer generations
yeah,
are more outspoken about it. And they're because, and I'll confess right now, I don't have children. Yeah. Yet I see and my heart goes out to them because the newer generations aren't necessarily wired the way we are because they're wired through the screens, through social media. I love where, Simon Sinek's broke the internet kind of thing like Brene Brown's did the other
yeah.
decade, right? Simon's it's talking to their whole lives are virtual reality. So when it comes time for real connection, mano a mano or face to face, they don't there's like a desensitization there.
Right, right.
So the younger generations are grappling even more because we had the benefit or the detriment of having to have the grit to get it through. No disrespect to anybody of any age because we're all looking to thrive and survive, right? But many of us are survivors of parents before us that were just shut up, stop your crying and get it done, right?
Right,
We can't say that to kids now.
right. And they spanked us and they
Mhm.
ruled by the hand,
Right?
and you do it my way or else.
That's right.
It wasn't.
You're under my roof.
You're under my,
Yeah.
yeah, as long as you live under my roof, you're following my rules.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. You sit there and you don't speak till you're spoken to. Yeah, it was a different. We weren't. They weren't the compassionate parents that we are encouraged to be today.
That's
But
right.
we have to be inclusive.
Yes, yes, yes,
How our
yes.
kids think
Yeah.
and feel.
I was told once this is not a democracy.
Right.
This is not a
Yeah.
democracy.
Till you get a job and pay the
That's
bills,
right.
you'll do it my way.
That's right.
Oh my God. All right. Tell me a little bit about the wellness retreats. Paint the experience day 1 to day 3 or day 5. I don't know how many days you do
Sure.
it, but what actually
Sure.
happens on a luxury executive wellness retreat?
Sure, sure. And it's a formula that seems to work really well.
Okay.
So first, it starts before the retreat, right? We not only have the deep conversations and oftentimes coaching and counseling sessions with the client, and that often happens on the first call in, right?
Okay.
Because they share with us what's going on because we're so mental health forward, and burnout is really just another word for mental health and anxiety and depression, right? It just is. There's overwhelm involved. There's emotional dysregulation. So when we get the call, we're talking to them and understanding their unique circumstances. So we get that and we tailor the experience for them. Now, each of the experiences includes what I believe are the key components. The key components are a trauma informed mental health practitioner. So they're going to have deep dive sessions, individual sessions with the mental health practitioner. Usually it's 90 minutes, a couple hours. Sometimes it's 3 hours at a clip because there's a lot of story and background that needs to be told before they begin the processing of the EMDR, the brain spotting, the energy work. And then they'll have a breathwork instructor. That's part of the team, mental health therapist, breathwork instructor, coach. So a life coach or executive coach. And if we need to specify a particular ethnicity or a particular faith, then we'll find a coach on the team with that faith or that leaning because we want our clients to be comfortable. We serve every nation, tribe, and tongue. So a naturopathic doctor is the fourth component. And then when we're at a retreat, like we're going to France on Friday, there, we'll use the group experiences for fitness and some other wellness components and detox of the spa and stuff like that. But what you're going to do on any retreat of ours, you'll meet individually multiple times with all the practitioners. So you have a very tailored experience specific to your unique circumstances and your desired outcomes. In between those times, you're journaling, processing, chilling, letting yourself just be. We really encourage digital detox as much as you can. And rarely, I mean, rarely do people work while they're at our retreats. This is their job. And oftentimes they're in an acute situation. And so we do well-being on demand. Um, Our first well-being on demand was Friday before Labor Day 3 years ago. And this gentleman was going through a heinous divorce and he had addictive issues. We assembled the team of 5 to go to the Panhandle of Florida on Labor Day Sunday. So at Friday, we got the call. Sunday, we deployed the team. So either way, all those components are necessary and essential because most people aren't breathing properly. They're not getting the proper oxygenation to their brain. It's impacting their sleep. They've got CPAP or sleep apnea, or they're taking medication to sleep. So we know, as a health coach, the number one thing is sleep. It informs everything else.
Exactly. So when you deployed the team for that man in Florida, do you mean you picked him up and put him on the plane and took him to the retreat, or did you go down there just to support him locally?
We met him. He flew from Dallas. Several of us flew from Dallas. Some flew from Georgia. Some flew from Florida. But my team of experts met him there. We determined a time, determined a resort. I wouldn't call it a resort in the Panhandle of Florida, but we determined the location. So yeah, we didn't go get him. Okay. Although we did that recently from Palm Beach.
So you'll do a one-on-one. It's not always a group retreat.
It's mostly one-on-ones.
Mostly one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do some small group retreats, but the old model for me is dead. The old model is let's get a retreat and get enough people so that we can cover the cost of the retreat.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes that's the issue, right? And this is what I determined 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, was let's serve them where they're at when they need us. And so well-being on demand and services on demand, even locally here, is a vertical that's growing in our company.
So is it a 3-day retreat or is
This was 6 days. His was 7 days, but it's 6 days, 5 nights as a norm.
Okay.
And we'll do whatever length you want. But if you want some real healing and real impact and effectiveness to help change or reset you, we believe that the minimum is 4 days, 3 nights, because you'll get within that 2 to 3 intensive sessions with the psychotherapist, the psychologist, whatever their acronym is, and the breath work surrounding that and the coaching surrounding that. And you'll begin to kind of reboot after the 4th day.
So you're mapping out an entire life plan for them that includes diet, exercise, you've got nutrition in there, you've got mental health. What else?
Well, the breath, the emotional right? The nervous system regulation is the thing.
Yeah.
Most people, especially like us, or maybe who we used to be, I still got that gene. Most of us are living in fight or flight.
Right.
Rarely, if ever, did I drop down into my parasympathetic nervous system. It was like, what's that? That's what you do when you do yoga and breath work and the more quiet things. Our tendency, yours may have been too, I know you were a bodybuilder, right? But our tendency was, I'm going to go get it done. I'm going to pound it. And I want to do a HIIT class. And I loved beach boot camp. And I tell you, we did so many beach boot camps because it was a daily thing, right? If you're working out 5-6 hours a day, that was the way we attack things. That's the way we conquer things. But what we really need to do is just be still and drop into our parasympathetic and that vagal nerve and all that stuff. Incredible and astounding things come out when you live in that space for a little bit, even if it's for an hour, with a circular or transformative breathwork instructor or Buteyko. There's all these certifications, right?
Yeah.
When you go deep into what's really in there, it can be life-changing.
Yeah. Most people don't want to go there.
No, most people don't want to go there.
They don't want to go there.
Yeah.
That's a scary place.
Mm-hmm.
So how do neuroscience and naturopathic medicine sit at the same table in your programs?
Oh, it's pretty cool though, right?
Yeah.
Because actually some of the naturopaths are neuroscience oriented as well, right? So everything's energy, right? And it's funny, I used to think this was woo-woo. And one of my practitioners, Dr. Robin Braun, she wrote a book that's like scripture backed, because I'm a woman of faith, scripture backed quantum physics, right? You'd think they're incongruent, right?
Exactly.
But the neuroscience and biofeedback, the psychologists, or whatever their acronym is, because what we hire or what we employ are gifted, compassionate, and exceptional practitioners. I used to care for street cred what the acronym was behind their name. I insisted it be a doctor. It's not what's most important. Are they gifted? Do they have that special quan? Do they have that compassion? And do they have that, like you go to a good hairstylist or a good massage therapist, they either got it or they don't, right? Exactly. So my practitioners or our practitioners are like that, but they sit at the same table. And the beauty about that is all 4 or 5 of the team members, we work in concert as if we're one practitioner.
Oh, I love that. So everybody's in alignment.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. And that's what I look for. I don't know who's been in the recruiting world ever or in corporate, but we used to say, you can teach skills. You can see what their attitude and compassion is or their passion is, but you can't teach attitude as well. But you can discern kind of if they're a fit. So it was always, can they do the job? Will they do the job? Are they a fit? And the fit's the most important part.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're creating a culture,
Yes.
right? I mean,
Yep.
that's what you're really creating.
Yep.
So what outcomes do you track? Sleep, HRV, mood, focus, biomarkers, any before and afters that made you go, whoa?
I think the most significant biomarkers, if you are the sleep.
Sleep, yeah.
And a lot of that is based on the level and the type of breathwork instruction. And everybody, I mean everybody, corporate retreats, personal retreats, group retreats, whatever retreats, everybody takes breathwork home. Not only do they have their own breath, and that's what the breath workers say, right? Well, you've always got your breath, and that's true, but now they're learning to actually breathe properly, where it's going to affect your body and your cells at the cellular level and your brain function and your gut-brain axis and all of that. It's incredible what breathing properly does, and most of us don't do it.
Can you also talk to our listeners a little bit more about the importance of sleep? Explain to our listeners how much sleep we should be getting, how we can get better sleep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sleep hygiene.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
talk. I mean, I think we need to
Sure.
talk a little more about that because none of us are
Yes.
getting the best sleep.
No, it's amazing, right? So, and it's really simple, right? It's not easy to do. It's just very simple. So when I do my keynote speaking on burnout and my workshops, this is essential. So what does your sleep hygiene look like? And what hygiene means, and I didn't used to call it that. One of my doctors in Clearwater calls it that.
I like it.
Yeah, right? Sleep
Yeah,
hygiene.
I like it.
Tell me about your screen time. I'm going to ask you, what
Let's
time
do it.
of night or do you stop looking at your phone or your tablet?
I'd put it down right before I go to bed.
Ouch. Okay.
I'd bring it to bed with me, read my final emails or my social, whatever. Then I set it on the little charger and then I go to bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a great example. We're both great examples.
Oh, okay.
So
scolded.
What's the bedroom made for? Begins with S. Two things.
Sex and sleep.
Sex and sleep.
And sex came first.
That's okay. So tell me what you know about EMFs.
EMS, not much.
Okay. Well, all your electronics are absorbing EMFs.
The electromagnetic
frequencies. And G made it worse, and 6G is going to be heinous. So it's impacting us and our cells and our body and our sleep. Okay. But more importantly, right, screen time steals your melatonin, right? And keeps you at a higher rate instead of a calm rate. So screen time, and some people say, well, I just fall asleep to, and sometimes I fall asleep to a particular messaging or podcast or whatever. But if you can dismiss the screens, put them away, not only out of your bedroom, but stop them 1 to 2 hours before jammy time.
1 to 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Linda. All right, everyone. 1 to 2 hours.
Right?
You're going to put those phones away.
Screen time. That's I think that might be one of your challenges at the end. Exactly. It's always my 30-day challenge. What are you choosing to do if sleep is really important to you? So what time of night are you eating?
Oh, we eat around 6.
Okay, good.
I eat early.
Right.
We do eat early, between 6 and 6:30.
Okay. And the recommendation is a couple of hours before you go to bed, right? Unless you're literally bodybuilding and you have to get up in the middle of the night and eat protein. Those are extreme people. Those aren't really us. Let's pretend.
Exactly.
Let's not pretend. I was told one time, or I learned, I guess, eat for what you're doing next. So do we need my steak, my potatoes, and red wine? Do we need that at 7:30 at night? What are we going to do next? We're going to sit like a lump on a log. We're going to watch a movie. We're going to do doom scrolling. Bad. We're going to go to sleep. Right?
Right.
So we eat for energy, right?
Right.
Now I say this, whatever. I know it's not always a knowing problem, folks. We know it's a doing problem, right?
Exactly.
So I know, and I do quite a bit. And I've struggled recently. But anyhow, so we've got sleep hygiene of leave your electronics outside of the room. That's a challenge.
I know. Where are we supposed to charge it? That's where my alarm is.
You know what some lovely families do? Everybody has it in the hallway and a little basket, like a phone basket, a tablet basket. No kids are allowed to be on their screen at night.
But what do you use for your alarm in the morning?
Right?
I have to get it.
You know what I bring to my keynotes? A little old-fashioned alarm clock. Have you ever seen these? And a lot of people here listening to you may not have seen alarm clocks. They exist.
Digital alarm clocks. You used to be able to buy them at Radio Shack.
That's right. And I don't even do digital. I just do the old-fashioned.
And you're really old-fashioned. Going back.
They're retro. You can buy them at TJ Maxx.
You're not that old. Stop.
I'll take that. It's and alcohol consumption and caffeine consumption. Alcohol, we know it messes with you, especially if you're like a little north of 40, like she and I might be. It just a little bit.
Just a little.
It messes with you. It is not healthy for you. And
it's not healthy at any age.
Yeah.
Alcohol is a toxin.
Yeah.
Let's just throw that out there.
That's right.
Okay.
And some of us, it's interesting. I have a dear friend, and you should probably meet her if you don't know her, you might know her. Her name's Sharon Feckerty. She's up in Clearwater, and she wrote a book, The Broken Road to Mental Health. And she's been sober since she was 23. So she's been sober a long time, and that's a platform she stands on about mental health. But what were we just talking about? I lost
sleep. We're talking sleep,
right?
Sleep, alcohol, and caffeine,
and brain and caffeine. Yeah.
Caffeine.
So what her belief is, and one of my doctors, Dr. Robin, and a few others, especially for Irish folks and American Indians. Have you heard this?
No.
It's an allergy. We're allergic to
All right.
alcohol.
That explains a lot because I am Irish mostly and French Canadian. And my tolerance for alcohol is so, I'm just like, seriously, I have one glass of champagne and I can't metabolize it properly.
Isn't that amazing? And that's how I am with anything white wine.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's got different sulfites and different whatever. But I think
it's anything for me, frankly.
Is it?
I mean, anything will do it. Tequila, but it all does it.
Yeah.
I really shouldn't drink.
Shot.
Really, like thankfully I don't drink much, thankfully. But when I do, and it's gotten worse as I've gotten older, for sure.
Because it does change, right? Yeah. And obviously our hormones, and we want to talk about hormones and aging and all that good stuff. But the reality is it has major impact now. It was maybe 7 or 8 years ago I stopped drinking Cabernets because they were so heavy, right? And now I can barely drink. I drink on occasion, but I can barely drink things without them really impacting me, you know? So
how does alcohol affect our sleep? Back to that. How does it affect our sleep?
I can't talk from the medical end, but what it does, I'll do it in layman's terms, okay? It impacts your blood sugar, right? And so it spikes it, right? And then maybe crashes it. But what it does for me, or to me, I drink and then you want more, right? So it opens up that pathway, right? And then I drink more. And then for me, the Irish girl who's likely allergic to it, then I crave sugar. I crave carbs. So then I'm on this pathway to craving carbs. And this is like 2 glasses or more, by the way. I think I can drink a glass and I'm good.
But then you want that slice of pizza.
It's 11 at night, right? Because you're done with your happy hour, your friends, you're conversing, you're whatever. And then eating late at night and then make bad decisions, right? Whatever those bad decisions are, mostly it's food and drink. And then you go to sleep on that. And what it does is it turns to pure sugar if it's not already.
Right.
And then it wakes me up. Right.
Right.
And I wrestle with the sleep. And the next morning, do I want to get up at 6 a.m. and do that HIIT class or whatever class?
Right. No.
Right. Or do the walk or the run? No. So it impacts you, at least me.
It does me too. And my mouth is dry when I get up. I'm super thirsty. I often have a headache. The inflammation in my body. And it's not good.
It's so not good. And it's interesting. I read, you know how I don't scroll much on social media, but I liked the recent thing I saw, this posting, and it was sugar in the body is diabetes. Thank God I don't have it. Sugar in the eyes is glaucoma. Sugar in the brain is dementia. Think about everything sugar. And it's funny, my brother who recently died, he was kind of a health guru. He was a badass. He was a Navy diver. He was a personal trainer. He was, of my 4 brothers, my hero for a while. And I aspired to be like him. He died younger than all of us. I mean, he died at 62. But he taught me when I was very young, about supplementation and stuff like that. He said, it's about your health is about managing your sugars. So he would point out, you're having a glass of orange juice and you're having a white carb and you're having, right? And you're having fruit and eggs, right? Or whatever. It's all about managing your sugars. And so that post that I recently saw struck me. And it's like, oh yeah, it's really that simple. It kind of is
And
physiologically.
But that bears the question, if he died at 62 and he was so healthy, what did he die from?
Do you know, I'm not going to cry.
Yeah.
You're probably the white oper like I am. He was taking hundreds of dollars of supplements a month, and he would brag about it. He had a very small number of people that were his tribe, if you will. But he allowed himself to get more obese and obese and obese. And I know in my heart, even though he was a man of faith and was very dogmatic about his faith, and he knows the Lord, he, in my estimation, in addition to being a man of faith, I don't believe he ever dealt with his stuff. And he stuffed it down and he stuffed it down because I'm okay. And he was a badass, right? So most of the men, many men with that bravado kind of shun away. They don't need it. And it's still kind of a little bit of a taboo thing or a thing, right? So I'm so grateful. Half of our clients are men, half are women, half are men. And it's always been that way with our types of renewals that we do. But he allowed himself, and he was, and then he refused dialysis, and he wasn't going to live that kind of life. So it was a bit of a shocker.
So he was on hundreds of supplements when he passed?
Yeah.
And putting on all kinds of weight.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
so we have, but here's the thing, right? And I learned this a long time ago
Yeah.
about fitness. I can't out exercise my food. I used to be able to, or I used to think I could.
That is a quote that should be on
Right?
everyone's refrigerator. You cannot.
And as we age, because we begin dying, what did he used to tell me? We begin dying at 29. Right?
Okay.
Everything starts degrading in our body.
Yeah.
The 14 chemicals we're made up of, and L-carnitine and acetyl L-carnitine for our brain memory, whatever. We start dying, I think, whatever. We'll look up the stats.
Okay.
We start dying earlier than we think because things start degrading. Right? If he's on those supplements, think about this, and you can speak to it really well. And so can all my doctors. And I can speak to it pretty well too. But I have inflammation right now. Right? I have inflammation, and the biggest thing, and it's detrimental to your health, right? And my hormones are off. I, recently did blood work. So anyhow, we can't medicate or supplement if we have malabsorption. Inflammation is associated with malabsorption, right? You're not absorbing what you're supposed to be, your nutrients.
Right.
So when we get rid of the inflammation or get rid of that root cause, then, and we have clear and we've detoxed our liver and our kidneys, then we can begin absorbing the supplementation. And he was an expert in supplementation, but he wasn't dealing with the root cause of stuff. He was doing what he knew to be true as far as the L-carnitines and the vitamin C and all these great things that I take every day that heal me. 1 teaspoon of this pure vitamin C. I don't even sell this stuff. I've been on it 40 years. Believe it. Linus Pauling was from he was a scientist, and he won the Nobel Prize for excessive or extreme amounts of vitamin C.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it cures like everything. I have friends. Yeah. So he knew all that, but what he wasn't dealing with, and the root causes of so many things are emotional and mental. And that's why we like to get to the root cause. And it does matter. My nutrition does matter. But when I fix what's up here or here and heal that, she was with me for 6 years on my first company. And then she went to the Netherlands and served NATO. And so she's always been an advocate and a supporter of military, and, the 22 suicides a day and all these young men and women who are serving our country or any country. And it's really severe. Right. Mm-hmm. And to get them to a place of encouragement to pull them out of that, when we deal with the root causes and strengthen the resilience by switching, we were talking about going to create new neural pathways. So it's not just about, and a lot of people, including myself, I'm a big Tony Robbins fan from an early age, right? Those kind of, I love Simon Sinek.
Same.
I like all the motivational people. Mel Robbins, all of them. Mm-hmm. And we all have great messages. But until we can kind of excavate a little bit. My new book, one of the chapters is called Root Extraction. Until we extract that root, pull it up from the ground and get all those little root hairs out of it, till we extract that, there's really not enough room to put in the good stuff. But when we do, we have to reframe. So let's just say I went through this release, mental, emotional release, 10 days ago. And from that, my counselor, my therapist had me envision. So it had to do with an ex-fiance. My therapist had me now sear into my memory a new vision, not the breakup and the trauma and the hurt and the crying and all that stuff. But she had me sear into my mind a new happy vision about him. And he was playing the sax, and it was a Sunday morning, and we were just lounging. It was a lovely, warm feeling because I loved the man, right? And he loved me. But there's a reason we didn't get married, right? But we have to reframe, and then it becomes those affirmations, which a lot of people take lightly. And even from every book on earth, including the big book I read a lot, you shall have whatsoever you say. So it's not some new age thing that, I'm doing manifestations and affirmations. No. This is like the core wisdom from Ancient of Days, literally, right? The core wisdom from the Bible, and there's so many places. Old Testament, so it actually traverses Judaism and Christianity and even parts of the Quran, right? It traverses everything because it's really about, it's not be positive, glass half full. It's stop telling yourself the lies. So the book I wrote the other year was Igniting Hope, Leveling Up Your Thought Life in 31 Days, because it's all about what you're letting into here. Yeah. And then we ruminate, and then we spin, and then we spiral down, and then we get in our little frenzy of OCD-ness or self-medication or self-loathing.
Absolutely.
So it all starts with, garbage in, garbage out.
Controlling your thoughts.
Controlling your thoughts. Yeah. And that sounds like, well, you get 70,000 thoughts a day. How can you do that?
Yeah.
You have to take them captive.
Right.
You have agency.
Yeah. I have a great example of that. I had a friend once who he and I would study, not the help, what was it called? You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it was about manifesting and all that. And I'm going to think of it. Secret. Thank you. Yeah. The Secret. So we were studying that, and he said that whenever he gets a negative thought that enters his mind, he acknowledges it and says, "Thank you for coming, but you no longer serve me."
That's good.
Or, "Thank you for coming, but I don't need you anymore," or whatever it was. And he would acknowledge it and thank it and say goodbye to it. And that's how it was fascinating because it was just this visual of, there it is, but I'm going to say that, okay, I see it, and now I'm going to let it go and release it.
That's good. That's a very gentle way of doing it.
Yeah, right?
I say get out.
You say get out?
Get out.
I don't
get
want
the
you
heck out. But it depends, it depends on the thought, right? Because can we capture 70,000 a day? Well, a lot of them are mind-numbing thoughts like, you know what? That picture is a little awkward. Let me go correct that later or whatever, right? All those things. Yeah. But when we know when a destructive thought comes in, because it's very familiar. It's called a familiar spirit, but it's a destructive thought. And it's a belief system that probably started a long time ago.
Right.
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 And so it keeps.
Right. And that's where our triggers come from. Our triggers come from those old beliefs that no longer serve us. Right. But there's still, I have plenty of.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That I could, the I'm not good enough, the fear of abandonment one, you're going to leave me and not come back. All of those, they're all triggers that, once I feel those things, I go to that flight, fear of flight, or what is it? Freeze, flight, and fear. No,
I don't do the three.
Flight
or fight.
Flight or fight. Yeah. So yeah. And I vary between the two. I tend to be more of the fighter than the flighter.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
But sometimes I'll
put up your dukes.
Exactly. Let's go right here, right now. I want to go back to the talk though about, you said sugar. You said if we can control our sugar intake, that's the secret of.
Yeah, sugar balancing, right? And sugar intake. Yeah. And I know nothing about diabetes. Praise God. I mean, my parents got it just later on in life.
Yeah.
Right.
But Linda, where's the disconnect? Because we know sugar's bad for us, most of us, I think.
Sure.
I think we're aware of that. Where's the disconnect between what we know and what we do?
You know what?
Serious. I know it's funny, but I know
it's instant gratification. Okay. It's numbing that feeling and getting what we want. So there's a difference. And I kind of speak to this in other writings, but it's, and I probably learned it from some, you always cite people when you first learn something.
Yeah.
And then you're saying, somebody once said, and then say, what I always say is, right? So we all are, combination of wisdom and people we've listened to and been encountering for our lives. But I believe that there's two things, and I believe in good and evil, right? So I believe there's, the little guy on your shoulder here and the other guy here saying, you're so awesome. You're so not. You're so, whatever they're saying, right? So I believe in those guys. I believe it exists. And there's a difference between I want and I desire. Because my belief system is, and I believe, you'll see, anybody, y'all can call me or email me or complain or whatever. The Lord puts the desires of our heart on our heart. Desires. But the wants are from the other guy.
Okay.
So I want, let's just say, not that I have anything to do with cupcakes. I want the cupcake with the buttercream icing, right? And the particular whatever. I want that. But my real desire is to feel amazing and be leaner. It's not about skinny or weight loss. It's about feeling amazing, right? And so it's not a stigma against weight. I mean, I owned a weight loss camp for 6 years and got the joy and the inspiration from connecting with clients, all of us. I was one of them, right? So that wanted to lose the weight, and it was a lifelong struggle, right? And because we keep going to that place until we fix that little trigger. And not that it's bad to want things, but if your desire, why are we incongruent? And I grapple with it, and I, talk to myself a lot about it. Why do I grapple with not being congruent with my own values, right? Because sometimes, let's just, I'm not going to cry. We'll take the gloves off or the mask off. Sometimes the pain or the loneliness or the isolation is deep, and what you're missing out on, or your connectedness or your intimacy is lacking, whether you're a single person or in a marriage that's unlovely and you're not being touched or seen or held, right?
Yeah.
If those things are missing, and genuine connection, not social media connection, genuine connection, if any of that's missing, and or you have bitterness, resentment, and unforgiveness towards yourself or anybody else, those are the real killers, those and sugar.
So let me ask you, since my podcast is Joy of the Hang, and hang is connection, what is genuine connection to you? What does that look like?
When we first hear, right? When they say seek first to understand and then be understood. When we hear the other person's heart, emotions, perspective. We ain't doing that a lot these days. When we first hear to understand and seek to understand them, and then we have the place and the space. I don't say safe space, but it's true. We have the go ahead to be heard by them, to share my truth. It's to share who I really am, my authentic self, right? Yeah. I was talking to my best friend of 45 years yesterday. And I said, well, I'm just going to be myself. I'm not selling anything. Right. So it's just, there's so many layers to all of us. And we also have so many masks. So if we're willing to hear somebody and seek first to understand them, and then we have that place where we get to share with them and be our real selves, that's connecting. Mm-hmm. I'm an executive coach, among other things. And I went through John Maxwell's coursework a long time ago. I love this guy. He's written like 110 books. 110?
Yeah, he's kind of the guru, self-help
right?
guru.
We got to get the second and third out right now, about 110. But one of his
books, small, though.
Right? That's right. They're small.
They're small.
That's right. One of his famous ones that I do workshops on with corporate teams is everyone communicates, few connect. Because we're always like this. There's so much dang noise in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so much dang noise even when you get together with friends, acquaintances.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
I prefer the deeper relationships.
Same.
Quality, not quantity.
Same.
Right? Are you being heard? Do they know you? And that's part of the challenge. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. I know, is that connectedness. So is in workspaces, which is 70% of your world, in workspaces and in personal spaces, are you genuinely connected to the people that you work with? Do you know what they're about? You don't have to know their traumas. You don't have to know their personal lives, but can you connect on that space where you can actually listen for a minute and be supportive, offer an encouraging word? Maybe you're not the encourager, but either way, when we connect on those levels, by the way, it increases employee happiness, employee engagement, and effectiveness. But when we are disconnected and we also don't understand our bosses and we don't understand the bigger view or vision for the company, we're lost. So people leave a lot more, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of
But
turnover.
anyhow, so that's what genuine connection means to me. We communicate all day long. I'm a great communicator, so are you.
Thank you.
We right?
Yeah.
We majored in that,
Great.
broadcast journalism, and
Yeah.
we chit chat. I was in
Right.
sales forever. I am gregarious. I'm outgoing, all that stuff. That's great. But are you really seeing me? Am I really seeing you? Or am I dismissing you to get my stuff out? So when it's mutual, to me, that's a connection.
Yeah, I love that. That's yeah, well
Mhm.
said. Well said. Yeah, and it's funny because it brings me back to when I first moved. So I've only been in Sarasota, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, right? Full
Okay.
time. And I moved from Maine and I'd lived in Maine my entire life.
Oh my.
My raised my kids in Maine. I had a job, my business was in Maine and my closest friends were there. And so anyway, transitioned down here and you talk about being vulnerable and communicating. And it was, first of all, I struggle with trust anyway. So it was really difficult to figure out where do I fit in? Who do I want to be in this environment? Sarasota is very different from Maine. I
I'll
mean,
bet.
we do not have galas in Maine. I mean, there's no such thing. And I'm like, oh, it's gala season? What is that? What's happening?
That's funny.
So
I never thought of it.
oh no.
Yeah.
Are you from here?
Kind of. Well,
is?
from Florida-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't exist in Maine.
That's amazing.
No, no, no. We have 4 seasons. Half the
Mhm.
time, it's winter up there.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
we're
2
in,
seasons. Yeah.
exactly. We're in puddle boots or boots or, and so, yeah, but I didn't even have a wardrobe for here. I mean, I lived in jeans and flannels, right?
Yeah.
That was my thing there. That's where I felt most comfortable. And then you get down here and a lot of people have transitioned here. So there's a lot of people that are from away and you're trying to figure out, okay, where do I fit in? Who do I want to be vulnerable with? And then when you go through a difficult time, you're like, who can I trust with that grief? Who can I
Mhm.
trust with my, whatever confusion I'm going through? Because it's great when you're with the people having fun and at these parties and, everyone thinks you're the life of the party,
Mhm.
right? And you're having a good time. But when things aren't going so well, that's
Mhm.
when you find out who really shows up for you. Who's the real deal? Who's going to have my back? Who's going to really be able to hold space for me during the difficult times,
Mm.
right? And so I had that time and it's very, very telling and it's hard. So this is a shout out to anybody that's transitioning to a new place because I understand the pain and difficulty it is to be vulnerable with people that are new and to trust them because you are, whether you like it or not, you are being judged.
That's right.
You are.
No, it's truth. Yeah.
I mean,
We're
they are
humans.
judging you and
Mhm.
people are saying, ooh, is she going to fit in with our crowd or not?
Mhm.
And, I remember that awful feeling in elementary school when I went to a new school and being the odd girl out, right? The new kid in class. And it's the worst feeling in the world. And that's how I felt moving here. I was the new girl in town. And you're really trying to figure out, thankfully now I have an amazing friend group, but it took time.
Sure it does. And it's not especially at this age, but I want to applaud you because it's not always a bad thing to have boundaries and discernment, especially regarding trust, right? But it can come from a place of woundedness, right? Yours probably at this point, my guess, comes not necessarily from there, although some of that stuff lingers in us for decades, right? Right? The trust issue, right? The trust issues. Yeah. We've all had reason to not trust others. When you come to the place, I say for me, it's let peace be your umpire. And a lot of us say it's our instincts or our gut instinct because it resides kind of in our gut, but the Holy Spirit resides in your gut. So if you operate in protecting your peace, not from a place of woundedness, but from a place of intentionality and choice, that I will keep my circle small but meaningful.
And I've had to learn that because you
Mm.
do. I mean, yeah, I was also in a place of rediscovery.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I was in a place of who do I want to be now at this season of life. So that was a big thing for me because my children are now grown and gone. And now it's just me. And I no longer have, I owned a restaurant. I did not have a career anymore. I'm here with a new husband in a new home in a new city where I
Mm,
know nobody. So it was this whole like, who do I want to be now? Right?
reinvention.
Reinvention.
Wow.
Who do I, and I can be anybody because nobody knows me here. So I could be
Interesting.
whatever I wanted. It was so part of it's exciting, part of it's scary.
Sure.
But yeah, but again, it's like you said, the word authenticity and being authentic. It's really trying to figure out what is authentic for me now.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
that
because it should
changes.
shift, right? Because if we're evolving,
Right.
if we're healing and evolving from the past, because we all have a past of some,
Yeah.
right? And you get to have a clean slate. Not that you were a bad girl, a bad person, right? You get to have a clean slate. And I think, I encourage all of the, not just snowbirds, but people moving here because we always have so many in Florida, right?
Yeah.
And it's a great place to live. But as I think we can take stock, I said this to somebody the other day. It's a great time to take stock. Who do you want to be? And you get
Yeah.
to choose because rather than operating the way we always operated from this particular lens view or believing the things that no longer serve us or those belief systems that were really imprinted on us at an early age about I don't have a voice, all right? I can't speak up, I'm not being heard, and that you're unworthy of being heard or whatever all the deep stuff is. I encourage everyone, maybe we should have a workshop
I think we should.
because it's an identity crisis most of the time when we lose when I sold my first company. So before that, I was in a boss position in financial services with great companies, right? And so I used to boss people around, right? And I'm used to people doing what I say. And then I was like that. Imagine that. And so I opened up this company, and none of them, personal trainers and nutritionists and psychologists, none of them, I promise you, are like high performing salespeople. And so those are the kind of people I used to boss around, teach how to do things ethically and sell a lot of stuff, right? And so I opened up this company and I was like, oh my goodness, this is a whole different world. But when I sold the company, and I didn't exit for 100 million, by the way, when I sold the company, I was kind of in wilderness. Broke up with the boyfriend. My best friend and I were at odds. We're 45-year friendship. We were at odds for some business reasons.
Oh,
And I didn't have the boyfriend, didn't have the cool, wow, I own a live-in fitness camp. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? We change lives. I didn't have any of that.
yeah.
So it's like, who's Linda?
It's
So when you're moving, when you're transitioning from move, divorce, grief, loss, change of whatever, loss of, oftentimes we get clients probably in our stage of life where we've been pouring into everybody else. Now you're empty nester and maybe a new marriage, maybe not, whatever, caring for a parent. I mean, all
right.
these are roles you play.
Exactly.
So when you lose some of those titles, you've been identifying, I don't, you've been, um, that has been your identity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not the truth.
Right.
That's just the role you were playing.
Yeah.
But you're more than that, which is why I like kind of some of the European ways is you're a human being, not a human doing, right? What are you? Who are you without all that title?
Right.
Who are you? What's your life mission and life statement? Anyhow. Sorry.
No, I
I'm
love that. I love
Mhm.
that we went off onto that tangent because I was talking to a woman the other day, the kids are off at college and now she's home alone and she's like, I don't have purpose anymore. I don't know what to do when I'm not a mom, and not caring for my kids. So you're so right. You're so right on with that. We all have, but I mean, you spend 18 to 20 years raising your children under the same roof and caring for them and doing their laundry and making meals. And I get it. Like that is your job, to
Mhm.
make sure they become good little humans.
That's
And
right.
then they're off and you've done your job well, self sufficient, and you're left thinking, now what?
Now you're depleted.
Now what? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the clients we get. I was just on the phone call with a client. We talk weekly since the retreat. Wonderful man. Wonderful man. Exited his company for a great deal of money 4 years ago. He's 71 years old. So we're creating a retreat around him because he had his personal retreat. He's, getting everything back mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever.
Yeah.
Great guy, ran a company for 30 years, exited super well, and has everything in the world materialistically we all look at, right? And this is a lot of
Yeah.
our clients. But there's this chapter in this transition, this season he's going into, and it's different from yours and mine because we're a little bit younger, right? He's in his 70s, but now it's like, who is he? It's an identity crisis. And what do we do after we exit a company or exit corporate? And so this specific set, it's not even about second act. Not everybody wants to own another company or forge a way through some other corporate thing or go consult. Not everybody wants to do that. It's okay to just be in your 70s or your 60s or whenever you choose to exit the company world, right?
Yeah.
So it's an identity crisis, and talking about who you are and what your values are and understanding your worth and your value, even if you're not contributing as much to the kids.
So do you feel like men and women handle trauma differently?
I do.
Recovery and healing?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we're wired differently, right? So I guess it depends on the trauma because so many decades, and I think we're in a different era now, as we were referring to earlier. But for so many decades and generations, it was just this is the way we were raised. I mean, especially my household was,
Mhm.
textbook dysfunction, but it was my father raised all five of us on his own. That was unusual, right?
Yes.
In
Very
the
interesting.
early 70s. And my mom lost custody, but it was shut up and do it.
Yeah.
I mean, was it like you
Yeah.
said, there was a little lack of compassion there. What did his parents do to him? It was just his parents were depression parents,
Right.
right?
You respect your elders.
We
That was how we were raised.
Right. We respect it. We
Do as
do
you're
it. We
told.
we have grit. We're overcomers. And we've been so fortunate to have years that flourish, or even if the world is living on credit, it doesn't matter. The world is flourishing. I mean, I can't even imagine as a young person spending hundreds per month on Starbucks and I mean having allowances and credit cards in my name
No.
under the influence. I had to work starting at 15 and pay rent, but we needed the income.
Right.
So, but anyhow, we have more. What is it? We have more than we've ever had. Yet we've lost so much of the essential human connection. And that's why we do telehealth after the retreats. We believe in continuity. We
Good.
believe in maintaining momentum is critical
Yeah.
because that immersion works. But what's the continuance? So we set them up for success and make sure either they're continuing with us or they're continuing with somebody until we get to a level or until they get to a level that they're functioning at almost their highest level,
Yeah.
emotionally, mentally, physically, right? But we need the connection. So I had a colleague once, very famous guy, psychiatrist, not a friend, but he had a good idea. Let's do retreats online. And I'm like, for me, I know it's old school, folks, but I'm a believer in person. And I think we need that. And that's what's missing. That component is missing.
I agree. There's something about the energy exchange when you're sitting next to somebody.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%. So curious, we have to wrap this
Yeah.
up. I could talk to you all day.
Same here.
And I think our listeners are going to appreciate all the information you shared. But I'm curious, tell me a couple of things that bring you joy.
Traveling.
Traveling,
Yes,
okay.
I love traveling, and I built a company so that I could do that. And so we're going to France Friday, and I love traveling, and I love spending time with my friends. No matter what, I like pickleball and paddleboarding, and I love being outdoors. And the reason I moved back to Florida, because I was in Northern Cal for 5 years and then Dallas for 5 years. I moved back to Florida because I am a water baby, and I need to be near the water, in the water, on the water.
What's your sign? I'm curious.
Pisces.
When I first met Linda, I'm like, I'm sure we're the same sign.
Kindred spirit.
What's your birthday?
21st of February. Okay.
We were 1 for 1, but
We're
that's
both
okay.
on the cusp.
We are both
So
on the
we're
cusp.
both have multiple personality things going on, maybe.
It's true. Yeah, I'm on the Aries side. You're on the Aquarius side, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, mine are both water.
Yeah. And you, all three.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No wonder you're a water baby.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And I, swam competitively, but I lived in the sun and the water. And so when I'm not Dallas, by the way, doesn't. So when I am in it, I'm just happier. I just promise you, I moved here in February, and I've lived all over Florida, but I moved back here on purpose because I love Sarasota. Love the town. I live downtown. I walk everywhere. It just spending 30 minutes at the beach to me is like I've been on vacation. It fills me up.
Yeah.
And sometimes people, it's mountains or forests or whatever. But for me, it's the ocean.
It's any of it. I love the outdoors.
Any water.
So, and not just water. I love mountains too.
Yeah.
So again, Maine, we had it all. We had lakes,
Yes.
oceans, mountains, you name it. So I loved being outdoors in
Mhm.
all 4 seasons. So
Yeah.
snow did not bother me a bit.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Loved it.
It's beautiful up there.
Yeah, I miss it a little bit, but that's
Yeah.
okay. I'm over
Yeah,
it.
go back.
I'm slowly making Sarasota home.
That's good.
But I have to tell you, for the longest time driving in here, it just felt like somebody else's place. It took me a couple of years to really feel like, okay, this is my house.
Yeah.
This is my home.
It's
I get
good.
to live here.
It's
So,
good. It suits you.
yeah, it is pretty special. I'm very, very fortunate. Like you said, very blessed. So we always end with advice that you would give your younger self.
Boy, don't believe the lies that enter into your head. Don't believe the negative, because it's different. It's not like we're getting constructive criticism in our head more often. It's more often negative.
Yes.
Now, can we be corrected and get better? Absolutely. That's what teachers and parents and really good friends are for. But most of the stuff that comes into our head is negative. So I would do that. And if I could tell myself, take those thoughts captive and kick them out, whether you do it gently
Yeah.
or whether you just really kick them out. Get out of here.
Get the hell out.
Get the hell. GTHO.
Please.
Get the heck out of here.
Get the
So
heck-
sometimes you have to, be violent about it because it is insidious.
I know.
Your thought life can be super impactful. It is super impactful either way.
Do you use prompts like, I know we have to close up, but do you use prompts like sticky notes on your mirror or anything that for your positive affirmations or to help you keep in that positive frame of mind?
I'm not that girl with the sticky notes, but I always have, for me, it's scripture. Meditation isn't clearing my mind for me. It's meditating on the right stuff.
So
So
do you read the Bible at night before you go to bed? Is it something that's a daily practice for you?
Yeah, it's a daily practice. It's not like I read a chapter a day. It's not religious, right?
Yeah.
It's more connecting.
Okay.
And I'll be, Scout's honor. I do more praying and talking to God than I do reading his word.
Okay.
So, but I speak his word, and his word is truth over us. So speaking things out loud, especially the affirmations, the truth, or the sticky note stuff, speaking it out loud helps to retrain your brain.
Yes.
It's critical.
Yeah. Well, when I wrote my book this year, I told people, because I'm like, if I tell people and I put it out there, then I have to make it happen.
That's right. That's right.
Right?
That's right. That's part of your accountability. And
Right.
oops, I've got to be a woman of my word.
Exactly.
that's
I
good.
don't want to, so I'm going to put it out there as often as I can. So anyway, thank you so much, Linda, for being here.
So grateful to be here. So wonderful to talk to you. Thank you.
It was great information. So you have been with Joy of the Hang. Thank you for hanging with us. Take care.